The doctor was sitting in his clinic, filling out some paperwork, when there was a knock on the door. "Come in," he called, sighing, putting away the papers. Nurse Raina entered the room, flashing a small smile at the doctor. "Raina," the doctor exclaimed, "what do you need?" Raina gingerly sat down in the chair in front of his desk, wiping her nose on her sleeve. "It's just that I have a runny nose, doctor," she said. "It may not be anything, but it's a runny nose." "A runny nose?" the doctor questioned. He handed Raina a tissue before she could wipe her nose on her sleeve again. Raina took it graciously, wiped her nose, and placed it on the desk. "Yes, doctor," she replied. "It started 2 days ago." "What did you do 2 days ago?" "Well," she answered, "I had a normal day at work. I didn't do anything different from my normal schedule. Paperwork, checking patients. I went home early to see my daughter who was sick. We had dinner, and that's about it." "Your daughter is sick?" The doctor's interest was aroused. "Yes," she replied. "We tested her for coronavirus. It isn't COVID-19. I tested myself as well. I don't have COVID, so I don't know." "Tested yourself," the doctor mused. "A swab?" Raina nodded. "I'll see what I can do," the doctor said. "Notify me if the runny nose doesn't stop." Raina nodded, rose, and left the room. The doctor reclined back in his chair, thinking. Slowly, his eyes fell on the tissue paper Raina had left on his desk. A silver ring of fluid. His thoughts diverted. A silver ring of fluid. He lurched up and wrenched open the door, bolting outside. Raina was visible at the end of the hallway. "Raina," he called. The nurse glanced back, confused. "Come here." Rita complied, and in a few minutes they were back in their positions in the doctor's room. "Now," the doctor began, "tell me all your symptoms. Everything. This could be life-threatening." The nurse began, slightly concerned. "I don't know. I feel like I've told you everything," she sniffed. "Maybe it's slightly metallic in taste. Now that I say it, it seems more prevalent, like salty. Any lightheadedness? Does your head hurt?" The nurse shook her head. "If I think about it, I felt lightheaded this morning. I had a late night last night. I thought that was the case." "Raina, lean forward," she complied. The doctor rose, and his eyes widened in surprise. The fluid dripping from Raina's left nostril descended like a stream, a continuous river of liquid. "Stop!" the doctor hissed. "Wait, yesterday, when you swabbed, which nostril? Was there any pain?" Raina thought for a moment. "I think it was the left nostril. There was a pang of shooting pain near my nose, but it diminished soon. What do you think is happening?" So look at this diagram for a moment. So let me explain how smell works with the anatomy here. So when molecules of, say, a flower you're smelling go through your nose and make their way to the olfactory receptor cells, which are located in the olfactory epithelium, the molecules bind there and the neuron releases an action potential, sending a signal to the brain through the cribriform plate. On top of the cribriform plate is the olfactory bulb, which organizes the signals before sending them deeper into the brain through the amygdala and the hippocampus. This is also why, since this sense has nothing to do with the thalamus, it triggers memories intensely. Now back to the case study. So the doctor replied after a few seconds, "Your cribriform plate, it's torn. It must have torn when you swabbed your nose. This isn't mucus, it's cerebrospinal fluid. You need to get operated on immediately. A septal flap is necessary. You're at a heavy risk of bacterial infection right now, such as meningitis. It's no runny nose." Keep in mind that puncturing the cribriform plate with a swab is rather rare. This is still a dangerous medical problem, though. Thank you for watching the first case study, A Runny Nose or Is It? Make sure to like, share, and subscribe.